As we are live today on a Saturday morning, and we are talking about modern controls and that which comes along with it, which is the modern themes, and then taking the modern theme, working with it, but also extending it to give us a lot of options and to come up with color palettes very easily. And so what you can see here on the screen is that I've got a gallery and it's listing 140 colors. See this column right here, Alice Blue? Why 140? Well, there are 140 web colors that browsers support. Okay. And within Power Apps, we've got a color enumeration. So we say color.alice blue, and it's going to give us this first color here. Now, what's the second and the third? Well, the second color here that I display is, as you can see here, it's the complementary color, a color that's complementary to Alice Blue in this case. And I'm going to click on the other rectangle that I have here. And here in the collection that we're doing a lookup on, I'll go ahead and show the code if I can. And I should probably make this bigger for you guys. All right. And what I'm going to do is I am going to hit Control Plus to really zoom in. Okay, there we go. So we access the accent color. Okay, now where did I get all this? Well, I created a little code generator in a Power Apps application. And yesterday we had a workshop on common features that you would want in all your apps or a Power Apps template. And we covered this quite a bit yesterday in our 4-hour workshop. Just in case if you are interested, now some people are not interested they're just interested in free content. That's completely fine. I have tons of free content here. The workshops are right now. I don't like to mention prices and videos because things could change. So just keep that in mind. But $25 a month gets you access to all the workshops, all the live workshops. Right now we're doing them every Friday. And also you get access to all the previous workshops as well. So, So what I'm going to show you here is we have an FX Web Colors. And look at this. We have 140 records. Now, whenever you see a curly brace within Power Apps, think a record. All right. So, and the ID is simply something like an auto number. I just wanted some type of a numeric value that we could use as a primary key. If this was ever like in a database or something, I want to get at the ID there. And so for each of these web colors, first of all, I enlisted the help of AI, and I told AI I've been using different AIs, but for example, you could ask ChatGPT, hey, what are all the 140 web colors and sort them alphabetically? Okay, so that's really how I started. And then I would ask it, hey, what's the hex code for each of these? Hey, what's now the value? I just wrapped the color value function around the hex value. Okay, so if I ever said web colors and wrap a first function on that, give me the very first record out of this whole collection here that I have defined in app formulas. And you can say dot value, and you could use that for really any type of color type that you might want to use within Power Apps. Okay, so let's see here. Okay. So, guys, this is really sort of exciting because I'm redoing an application template, and I actually have separate communities for different purposes. Okay. So I have one for workshops. I have a free one just for learning Power Apps. I have one for the accelerator. So I have a total of 4. And that's because of how school is set up. Okay, that's why I did that. I wasn't looking to make things complicated for anyone, including myself, but just based on how it's designed, skool.com. And a lot of the videos here on the channel will have a link to the school environment. I should probably provide that. Um, so the very first link I'm going to share here within the live chat, and I did enable the feature within YouTube to, even if you're watching this on demand, you can still get at the live chat. Okay, so I'm going to share these four links. So there is the free Learn Power Apps. You know what I'll do? I'll go over here and actually share with you what I'm looking at. Okay, so the first one, um, it's absolutely free and you can get in there. So that is the link for this one. Okay. And the accelerator, you probably have heard about the accelerator. Every once in a while I talk about it. Um, so that is a paid program where I've invested interest in your success. I help you with your projects. You get access to tons more training than what is available, for example, on YouTube freely. So that's what that is. If you'd like to apply to join that program, it's a program where I commit to you for 12 months, and I make sure that you master Power Apps and you reach whatever Power Apps goal that you're trying to reach. Now, I do have the Power Apps template. So this is a group where I'm sort of recreating a new Power Apps app template, and I'm going to be adding to it regularly. Now, the price of this, I started off as $1 a month. And if you got in at whatever amount you come in at, that's the amount that that you're going to pay once you sign up into the future. So if you got in at $1 a month, you'll only pay $1 a month. I believe it's up to either $15 or $19 a month now. And that price is only going to go up as there's more and more value in the template, because eventually this template's going to be so valuable. I mean, you could take it and really compete with me out in the freelance world, you know. So, and we're going to be building full applications based on the template. Okay, so if you can imagine getting access to all those, you're getting quite a bit of value. Okay, and then let me provide a link to that. If you think you have any interest in getting into this, I would recommend the best time to get in was when it was $1 a month, and it went up steadily, $2 a month and $5 a month. Um, the second best time is today, the day that you're watching this. So the price will only go up there. And then we have the workshops, which I spoke about that. So I'm just providing on the links to that just to make sure everybody has the links if they are interested. Okay, so I'm going to go back over here and let's talk about this a little more. Okay, what else did I do? Not only did I get the hex value, but I get the RGB value. I have a category of whites. So Alice Blue is considered a white. Antique White is actually considered a beige. So let me show you this screen again. And you notice up here, this is what we did in yesterday's workshop. We have the categories, and these are all the categories. So let's look at beiges. So keep in mind, we're talking about the leftmost color here. Okay, those all look like beiges to me. Okay, what about whites? We were just looking at whites. All these look like whites, or fairly close. Let's look at greens. As you can see, all these colors are greens. I really like that. So if you're looking to build a color palette, you can get at those. And then also you can search on a particular color. So you've got these complementary colors and accent colors. So let's say, ooh, I really like this color right here. I'm going to click on it and look at that. The name of that is light golden rod yellow. Okay, so what I'd like to do now, you see nothing came up. Well, that's because the filter, let's see here. The filter, I should probably set up as an or. Right now it's set up as an and. So if I were to say, this will just take a moment here. Okay. So if, I think I like this better than what we did yesterday. So if txt search colors dot value, I'm going to trim it and then check the length. If the length is greater than 0, then I do want to do a search. And I'm going to drag code around here. And I'm going to do a search like that and also drag this code up here. Otherwise, I just want to do a filter. Okay, so now I'm going to hit format text if it's going to allow me, and it's not going to allow me to do that for some reason right now, probably because I need an ending parenthesis there. I'll hit format text, and there we go. I'm going to save and run this. Okay, so even though I had greens set up here, because I've got something here, I mean, if you type in a full web color name, let's say I'm looking for yellows, and I take that out. Click on all, you see that it's the same there. Okay, so it considers, actually it looks at this yellow here, because there's yellow in these. Okay, so we have that. Guys, do you know how exciting this is? Consider this. I'm going to create a new screen. Maybe. Okay, and what we have, if I were to bring over a rectangle, look at this. Now, we are going to talk about modern themes in this particular live stream. And I was looking for a Power Apps Purple type of theme because, hey, we're in Power Apps. Why not? So these are the themes. Now, I added my own theme and put in a hexadecimal that I liked for the purple color I wanted there. Okay, so I at least wanted to mention that. Now, if you look at the color, now if I click on the word color over here, notice that it actually says fill over here. So fill is the actual name. And you see it automatically looks at app theme colors primary. The problem with the modern themes is you can only base it on one color. Now you've got all kinds of colors down here, but you really don't have too much control. I mean, you've got the torsion and you got the vibrancy. But if I wanted 6 colors in my color theme, then let's see, I'm going to show you guys a website called colors.co. And let me show you examples of good color themes. So I'm going to share this link with you guys because it's a great tool. There you go. There's a link to that. I'm going to accept all the cookies and I'm going to exit out of this. Let's start the generator. Okay. Hit the space bar to generate random color palettes. Okay. Well, what I'm interested in is I'm going to explore the trending color palettes. And I can look at several at a time. I can pick out the ones I like. So I probably would have to sign in to set one as a favorite, but I really like that one. I like this one. This one's not bad. I like this one. You know, so maybe I don't want all of them. But you notice that a good color palette, most of these have 5 colors. Okay. Now, they might be shades of a color. Okay. But you have control. These are the hexadecimal values for these. So perhaps what we have is a blue and this orange, and the 3 other colors are shades of one of those 2 colors. But look at this one. Here is a beige, and then we have a red color, a different shade of that, and a blue and a different shade of that. Whereas within a modern control here, if we add a theme, you just pick one color. So if I go over here and hit purple, you know, I can't put something in there like a neon green or some other color. Okay. So what I'm going to recommend, and I have recommended to people, especially in yesterday's workshop, was that you pick what the primary dark color is. And you create a theme based on that. So if you ever add a control up here, it's not going to clash. It's going to look like it belongs. But we should really create our own color palette and have that record, like a record of a color. Maybe we'd have a color palettes table or a collection in our Power Apps application. And the primary dark color would be the color that we used here, okay, that we defined here. And then the other colors are complementary. So here we got app.theme. So the app object represents the application we're currently in. We can get at the active screen, design height. There's all kinds of pieces of information here, right? But now we've got a theme property of the app. And we could go in and say colors. And look at this. You got darker colors. You got lighter colors. So you've got 8 lighter colors, 7 darker colors. And then you have this primary. Okay. All right. Now, something I am going to do is I do need to go into an adjacent room for like maybe 8 seconds and get a drink. I didn't have a little tea or anything, and I'm talking a lot. My mouth's getting dry. Guys, I will be right back in just a few seconds. All right, guys, I do apologize about that wait. But these live streams, I typically go 2 to 3 hours, and I can't imagine spending that much time feeling parched. Okay. All right. Now, something that you will notice in talking about these themes, um, I should say, these past few months, they've created these modern controls. Okay. And these modern controls started using a completely different theming system. So if you're to go into settings and I were to scroll down, look at this, modern controls and themes. So I have this turned on in the settings. And if you don't have that turned on, then you might be working with the classic theming, which is much worse than this new modern theming. I just wish they would allow us to customize the modern theming a little more, and hopefully they will do that. But now that I have that turned on, if I were to add a button, you'll notice that it ties into that theming. And what I would suggest for anybody is that once you set that up, is that you augment or you extend the theme. Okay, so we go back over to app formulas. You'll see we have all these things. And I didn't go over everything here, so I'll do that now. So we've got a category. I also asked AI, like, hey, give me some tags for that would be a good tag or descriptive tag for this particular color. So for Alice Blue, we got neutral, background, light. And I did have to check AI's work. What you'll notice if you try to do something that I did here is that after 20 different colors, it starts repeating things. Uh, so it gives me the 140, but for like the the complementary colors. So I've got, here's the complementary color, here's the accent color. Started repeating those, and it started to be like bad information. And that was quite frustrating. I wasn't in a live stream or a workshop when I did that, but it took me a little while, over a few days, to be able to generate all 140 colors here with all this good data. So hopefully you guys find this interesting. And if you guys are familiar with my Ultimate Jumpstart Kit, I think what I'll do is I'll actually open that up in a new window, and it'll probably take 30 seconds to load up. I do have I have a dynamic theming um, system in my Jumpstart Kit, and I need to create a much more new and improved way of working with that here in Power Apps, this new template. Okay. So within a color palette, as I was talking about a few minutes ago, I highly recommend that you're working with at least 5 colors. And on one of those colors, I would highly recommend that it be good for, let's say, a screen background. And my wife has a degree in marketing, but she minored in graphic design, and she knows a lot about fonts and colors and presenting things online with typography and colors and spacing and alignment and all that type of stuff. And something that she's told me, and as well as other graphic artists or people that might create a color palette for an application UI or a website, is that you really shouldn't use a pure white or a pure black. Okay. So if I were to create an app here, this sort of looks white, but it's not complete white. Now, some of these color palettes have quite a few, but the ones that have a lot, you notice that it's pretty much one color in different shades of that color. In every color palette that I create for an app, yes, there needs to be one central main color, and I look for the darkest shade of that, and I base everything off of that as far as in the different shades and maybe colors that are opposite on the color wheel, or perhaps they make up a triad. Okay. If you go over to color.adobe.com, I'll share this link with you guys. Hey, I see Kenneth here. Kenneth, thanks for joining. Nobody's really talking to me yet here on the live stream. I'm starting to feel a little lonely. We have the color palette. Can you show some use case where to apply it? For example, when you're creating a new screen or project. Absolutely. We'll be absolutely doing that in this session here. Okay. So for example, I'm a little surprised that that did not come up. What's going on, Adobe? Here we go. Get out of all these things. And we can go to create color, these tabs at the top. I'm going to make myself a little smaller here. And what you could do is you could create a color palette based on colors that would be complementary, but are also around the same sector of a color wheel. And what I do like about this tool, you could upload an image and you can pull all the colors out of it. So that's sort of a cool thing. And I might actually do that to show you what that's like here. So this is very pertinent to doing application design work for a company, because what the best thing to do when you're creating an app for a company, an organization, is you ask them for their style guide. And a style guide is created and published by a marketing department. And typically, a medium to large size company will have a style guide. Now, a smaller company or a mom and pop shop, they probably barely have a logo that makes any sense, or even looks good. And there hasn't been a lot of thought put into the best practices for creating themes and a logo and branding. So sometimes what I'll do is if they don't have a style guide, I will, and sometimes you almost don't want to even ask for a style guide or like, hey, where's your logos and what are all the colors that you want? Because that might take them like a week or two to get back to you, you know. So I'll ask them if they know what a style guide is, and if they say no, then it's like, yeah, no worries. I'm going to drag a photo of myself, and yes, I did use AI to generate this photo. Look at that. So pull these colors out. And that's not bad. So you could create, like you go to a company's website and take one of their main pictures. Maybe they do have a logo at the top, and put the logo in here and have it extract all the colors. So that's a really nice feature of this. Now, if we go back to the color wheel, we have color harmony. So we got analogous. So these are colors that are somewhat similar. You got monochromatic. Okay. Those are all shades of the same color, sort of like what the modern theming and Power Apps does for us. Here's a triad. So it takes two other colors on the color wheel where they're furthest apart. Okay. And you do want colors that are much different to have good contrast. You know, there are a lot of people in the world that are colorblind, and if you have a lot of colors that are very similar, well, chances are they probably can't even read this stuff because it blends with their in their vision. Okay, there's complementary colors. Okay, so there's a lot of things that we could do here. Now I'm going to pull over my Jumpstart kit, my application template here. And what you'll see is I do have a screen over here called copy controls from here because all these controls are using my theming system. And you notice I do have five different colors here. And these are all the color palettes I have here. Now, so I had about a dozen of them in here, but why couldn't we have 140 color palettes in the new template? So this new template's going to be it's almost like the Jumpstart Kit 2.0, you know. New and improved. So here's an orange and blue. Here is a blue theme, which has the shades of these blues. And this body background, you notice it's heading down towards a white color, but it's not quite white. And a lot of people say, well, that's an ugly green. Well, I took these color palettes from the state of Florida, a government agency, and they published a lot. Now, this first one was not published by them, nor this one. It started with actually this blue theme. So it had a blue theme, green theme, and they didn't have a lot of contrasting colors, I can tell you that. Here's a red theme, an earth theme, and some of these I absolutely hate, like the earth theme in the pond. The light theme, I think, looks sort of nice. And there's an office theme. And I'm trying to remember if that was a part of it or not. But so you can see we got several different color palettes. Now, what are these color palettes made up of? So we would have a global variable, and I just specify a lot of different things here. So here's the name of the theme, and I have this title, which I would probably refer to that as a key for the theme. It's a sort of like a moniker or a name for the theme that should never change. So if I wanted to call this my favorite theme, I would want to keep this the same because that might be hard coded somewhere in some applications. Okay. But you see, we've got menu back color, we got primary dark, and for each color, we have a font or a foreground color that would be a good contrasting color that would look good with it. So I do that for each of the colors. And we do have a spinner graphic that's defined. We do have a gallery selected background and also any type of control hover color. Okay. And, if you click on these things, you can see that gallery selected background color is like a nice light shade of one of these purples. Okay. Yeah. Very good. Get rid of that. Okay. So let's go back over to app.formulas. And as you can see, we've got tags, we have a category, we have a complementary hex, we have an accent hex. Now, what we could do if we wanted to take our time and make sure this is really nice, something that we could do is these are just like things that an AI output. Okay. So if I were to take this hexadecimal color, Alice blue, take it over to Adobe, and let's go pick a different color. And I am trying to input the color. Let's see here. If I said explore and I typed in this hexadecimal, Alice blue. Actually, let's type in Alice blue. Now, Alice blue should look like a really light blue color. And perhaps that's what that color is there. And I look over here, like here's a nice blue, but that's not Alice blue. So we may not like what AI gave us for the complementary and the accent colors. Not only that, but I want to have not only a complementary, a accent color, but also two other colors that would look well with these three colors. And we could do that one by one. I had the thought to use AI to sort of speed up the process. But let's go over to, I'm going to create, and I'm going to have to figure out how to input. Okay, this center color, where's a place to actually input a hexadecimal? So if I hit remove, okay, paste that in there. And, but I just want to use one color, analogous. And I'm going to set this color up. See if I can delete all these now. Remove black. Yeah, I don't necessarily like all these. This website I really do like. So if I said Alice blue, what's it going to give me here? Yeah, I want 5 colors. Let's go ahead and go for 6, just for good measure, shall we? So I'll say 6 colors. Oh, I need to upgrade for that. Okay. Uh, let's see if I can do 5. No. And if I would have known this ahead of time, I'd have no problem paying that $2 or $3 a month. But let's go with 4 colors. There we go. We can do 4 colors. And what I told you guys is like, hey, we at least want 5 colors. Well, we already have one color. In this case, it's Alice Blue. And okay, so we got popular, we have trending and latest. So I'm gonna go with that, the popular here. Wow, 4 color palette, 4 colors in addition to Alice Blue. Nope, it looks like it's gonna generate just 4 colors. Okay. Well, we already have the Alice Blue color. Um, so if I were to paste this, okay, so we've got 4 Fs with a 0 and an 8. What I don't want to do is use the Alice Blue in here. So that isn't Alice Blue, okay? Um, I don't like a color palette with a bunch of faded colors there. So I would probably go with, we could create a many-to-many relationship. So, here we have, you know, all these web colors, but we could create another collection that is just full of palettes, and we could have 1,000 palettes, and there would be a foreign key that would link up to this over here, and a user or the developer, whoever's developing on top of this template, could select 5 or 10, select from 5 or 10 different color palettes based on that one color. Okay. So you see how exciting this can get. Um, yeah, if I look at the complementary color and so that one looks fine, I guess. But I don't like a bunch of light ones. So yeah, I don't know. And this color almost looks like the same as this color. So this is dark cyan. So if I click on accent color, the accent color is dark cyan. Okay. So as you can see, some of this data isn't really the best. So I do want to go through and redo those. Okay, so let's actually define a color palette structure. All right, so I'm going to go over here and let's take a look here. So we could actually start from this. I'm going to copy this record and let's take it over here. I'm going to go over to this new screen and I don't need this stuff anymore. Now, what I'm going to do is I am going to bring over a button. Maybe I should have kept the other one there. But on the on select, I'm going to do a set, and I'm going to call this GBL temp palette. Yeah, I'm going to use a comma. And there we go. We don't want to we don't want to reference a graphic that's not in the multimedia section over here. So that's why I commented that out. But you know what's great, guys? This new feature that Microsoft gave us that allows us to, hopefully I'll be able to copy and paste this whole thing. Let me try to do this. I'm gonna cut that. I'm gonna bring over a container. If I can. I sometimes that's just really hard to get a hold of the four-way, like the four-way icon there whenever you actually need it. All right, so I'm gonna paste those things in there. Wow, that actually didn't turn out so great. So I'm going to delete that and try to open it up a little more here. I think it was taller. And I think that we had, I'm going to try to hit Control Z and get my rectangles back. Okay, I'm really thankful uh, that the undo actually worked. A lot of times it doesn't. So again, I'm going to select all of these. And instead of cutting it, I'm actually just going to copy it. I'm going to create a new screen. And then I'm going to put a container here. I'll make sure it's very large. I'm going to paste those guys in there. Okay. And I'm going to align the lefts. And these guys aren't really set up right. So I can select two of these. I can align to the top. And maybe it's like this other thing here is on top of it. Maybe that's what's bothering me. So I'll pull that down. And I got a question for you guys, for all those of you that are following me live here. Um, do you like what I've done here with calling these different colors within the color palette? Is that how you would do it? Is there a better idea of how to name these different colors? So I got a primary dark, secondary dark. Down here I got a primary light, secondary light. So just trying to think of names that would describe, these different things. I'm going to use this. You know what? I'm going to select all of these. And for the width, I'm going to say parent.width. Okay. And then I'm going to select each of the labels there. And for its width, I want this to be parent.width times 0.8 or 80%. Like that. Because sometimes you actually want to click on this, the one in the back. Sometimes you want the label. And then I'm going to take this very last one here, rectangle 130. And then here what I'm going to say is for the height, y plus the height there. Okay. And let's put a nice border color around this, and we'll make it have a regular type of shadow. Maybe semi-bold. Yeah. So that looks nice, right? Okay, so I see Patty on here. Thanks for joining me this morning, Patty. I followed your lead from the Jumpstart Kit. Name my colors the same. Okay, very good. And then Alexandre says, as for myself, I think giving a name as the function of the color, not the name of the color, is a nice idea. Okay, so can you give me examples of what you're talking about there? You should use a vertical container to arrange those color labels in rectangles. Okay, so let's take a look at that. I love sharing my knowledge with you guys, and teaching others this type of stuff. But I have to admit, actually learning from the things that you guys tell me. I mean, each of us we come from different backgrounds. So I love hearing feedback like this of what you guys do, and perhaps you guys have a few tips for me that I can sort of pick up along the way, you know. So this is what I'm using a vertical container. Um, Now the question is, with this label, how would you make this label sit on top of the rectangle? Now, what we could do, this might be a better way of doing it. I'll copy those, paste them in there, and just use labels and not have rectangles. And we can do so by going into the fill. And at that point, we don't necessarily need a rectangle behind there. Now, just on a related topic, what you may notice is this modern text label. If you bring that over, it looks like just like a label, but it's modern. So it should look and function better, right? It's new and improved. Now, that might actually not be here in my template. Yeah, I don't think I actually turned on the modern theme. So if I turn that on, and I'm going to reapply. Okay. Now let me go back up here to copy controls from here and see if anything was affected, and thankfully not. Okay. I think what it will change is controls where you didn't specify something custom, something other than the default. Okay, so that label I brought over was not a modern, but this one is a modern label. Okay, how do you change the fill of a modern label? Does anybody know how to do this? I don't see a place to change the background color of a modern label. So that's something to keep in mind. That's what I was thinking. Like, well, we don't have to use a rectangle, you know. But I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to select this container. I'm going to say CNT color palette. And I'm going to click on the ellipsis, view code. Now this is a cool new feature. And maybe before we start copying this, we should have some good names on these things, like LBL. Color palette. Primary dark. Secondary dark. Body background. Then we have a primary light. And then we could have the same thing for rectangles. RE. I don't like to say REC because that could be confused with a record. So it's not RET, color palette, primary dark. All right. Now, Alexandria says a single unit is a label and a rectangle. These two may be a normal container. Then you add those combos into a vertical container. So let me ask you a question. What do we gain? Because it seems like it's a bunch of extra work. It's more controls. So if we do this vertical, this responsive vertical container, and we would have one, two, three, four, we'd have five regular containers, and each of those five containers would have a label and a rectangle. That just seems like even more work than what we're doing here. Are there any upsides to actually going through all those steps? And I'm completely fine doing extra steps as long as it makes sense. Like there's a nice upside, So the question is the juice worth the squeeze, as the phrase goes. Kenneth says maybe use a classic input and place it behind a modern one. Okay. So I'm thinking, okay, so you got a modern label and a classic label that is trying to do what a classic label could do by itself. And then there's another contrasting thought here, which is Microsoft going to take away the classic label from us eventually? I mean, there's all kinds of different design decisions to be made here, right? Alexander says, I don't know it, maybe you meant if, I don't know if multiple containers are bad for the number of controls. Um, there are some that say, hey, when you reach a few hundred controls in an app, then it starts to get sluggish or it's not a good idea, you know. Um, I don't know if I really agree with that. Maybe eventually, but guys, I have applications that are 20, 30 screens big and really don't notice that big of a deal. And then somebody could create a one screen application and it would be 10 times more sluggish than mine if things weren't uh coded properly. Okay. So there's all kinds of like weird things that you can do that you'll get a really bad performance hit on, like let's say we had one screen but we had 50 data sources. Okay, well that would make it sluggish. Now let's say we had no data sources, um and what we use instead of a data source is just use in-memory collections using like collect and clear collect. I think that application would be very fast. Okay. Something else I tell people is like, even though in settings, we could crank this up on the data row limit to 2000, which is the max. Well, if you have like 20 different data sources and maybe they're below 2000, but they're more than 500, you might get a performance hit on that. Now, you think about this, typically a gallery will just show 100 records at a time. It will render 100 records at a time. So maybe you got like 20 shown and use a scroll bar to scroll down. And you get to the bottom and that's the 100th row. And at that point it goes to get the second 100, you know? So if you have a lot of data sources, I would try to keep this a little lower, maybe 100. That might be a good number. I don't know if I would go under 100 though. Okay. So it is a bit of an effort starting, but you can gain consistency. And I definitely do like the idea of consistency. Like right here, I started renaming, um, these controls here. So rectangle, let's say secondary dark, body background. So I definitely want to finish this before I forget about it. Primary light and secondary light. Yeah, if your code is consistent all the way through, I believe that makes your application more maintainable, which is really important because if your app isn't maintainable, what is that called? That's called technical debt. 300 is the limit of controls in a screen. Power Apps will warn you a performance issue. Wow. Okay, I didn't know that was the limit on a screen. That's sort of nice to know. 300. Well, if you think like if you might have a bunch of tabs on the screen, you got all the buttons. And let's say the tab is either a gallery or the modern tab control. If you use a gallery for your tabs, I mean, you might have one, two, or three things in there, and then um, I'm trying to think what else we would have like for think about a field. Let's say we wanted things to be in a responsive type of container. And so we're doing what Alexandre mentioned, which is, well, you can put a normal container in there, and then put the vanilla container inside of a modern. So you start to think about all these little things that sort of like really increase the number amount of control. So if that really is the limit, I would imagine that you could on a really complex screen easily reach that 300. Now, I've never seen that warning, so maybe that's never happened for me. And if you're using a lot of tabs or a lot of pop-ups, maybe you should break things down into multiple screens anyway. I recommend that. Now, what I'm going to do here, I've got a nice little color palette, and what I'm going to do, I'm looking for the ellipsis, and I don't see it, so I've got to scroll over a little bit. And let's view the code. And hopefully everything has a nice, good name. So you see all these different things here. I really, really don't like groups or grouping of controls. So that's possible. Ever since they came out with the containers, I've like, well, why use groups? I'll just use a container to group things up. But groupings are nice if you have tons of controls and you don't like to see hundreds of items within a screen. If you have them in groups, it just looks simpler. What I don't like about groups is if I'm trying to select, one thing, um, try to select all these guys here, and I were to group these, am I able to group them here? It doesn't look like it. Let me try the ellipsis. Wow, I can't even group them here. That's interesting. So if I copy those, let me take these. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to paste it out here. Wow, look at that. All right. And we were to make this a group. Boom. Okay. What I don't like about a group is like, hey, I want to click on this guy right here. Oh, it selected the whole group. And then you click on it again, and then it selects it. And then sometimes I feel like sometimes I got to click it 3 times. So I find that a little annoying. Um, so the question I was trying to answer here for all of us is here on this container. Does everything have a good name? And it does. So I'm going to click on the ellipsis, and I'm going to go down to view code, and I'm going to copy that code, and I'm going to go over to our new screen here, and I'm going to click on something in this screen. Now, this should not change the button whatsoever. This sort of is a little confusing if you ask me. Uh, you might think, oh, I've got a button that I just copied, and now I want this button to look like that one, right? And you go in here and you say, okay, well, let's paste the paste code. Look at that. So there we go. Now we've got some errors, right? So let's go over to this project, and let's go look the copy controls from here. Let's go get the code out of this thing right here. I'm just gonna copy that, put that in here. All right. And what I'll call this is theme. Click on it. Look at that. There's a nice color theme. Okay. Okay. What I'd like to do is take a gallery like this. I'm going to copy it and bring it over on that new screen so we can work with all these cool new color palettes. I just did a paste and didn't bring it over. I'm going to hit Control V one more time. Still no dice. I am going to go over here, the ellipsis. I'm going to hit. I could copy code. I just wanted to copy the control. And if we're in the same project, it should work just fine. So I'm going to try it one more time like this. Paste. And wait. Okay. I'm going to simplify what's inside this gallery. Quite a bit. There we go. All right. So we do have some little phantom lines going on. If we run it, okay, they go away. That's good. Now when I ran this, you notice it sort of went off the screen here a little bit. That's really strange. So if I were to take this color palette and put it at the bottom of the screen, do you see that? We're missing some of the screen here. Let's say canvas size. Okay, that doesn't look so great to me. Let's try to pick a tablet here. An iPad. Okay. So we might have to do something like that. Now, if I say window size, canvas size. Now, something that we did yesterday is we wanted to build this as a responsive app template. So we took off a lot of the restrictions that were in there. Okay, I'm going to go with this. So that these dimensions, 1366 by 1024. I'm going to click on this mini. If you look at the default here in the settings, go down to display. Well, I know this one is set up as a typical default type of thing. So if I were to drop, well, I've got a little label here, modern label, that I can't add a border or a background color to. App dot width. So 1366, I'm used to seeing that color. I'm sorry, that color, that number for the width. And let's make this bigger so that people other than ants could see this. Copy and paste. And let's say height 768. So was I correct here? Nope, this is a little taller. Here's 768. I'd almost like it to have the same ratio, but this is fine. I want it to adapt to whatever host it has. In this case, like an app. I think this is hilarious, guys. If you guys really think about this, all these different things here. Oh, you know what? I can do a custom. Okay, I like this. 1366 by 768. I think that's what it was. Okay. 1366 768. Okay. So I'm glad we can do that. What I find funny here, guys, is you think about technology, large tech companies, Microsoft, Apple, Google, Facebook, Twitter. I would see if I was Microsoft, I would see Apple as a competitor to some degree. I think it's funny they don't list Android, you know. Now I'm an Android guy. I'm also a Microsoft fanboy, as you could imagine. My whole career has been based off of Microsoft developer technologies, though. My whole career. Um, and used to be Microsoft had their own phone, their own operating system for their phones, and but I haven't seen or heard from those, so I don't know if they're still doing that. But I find it interesting that they only provide Apple dimensions. Okay. Now, what I'd like to do is generate some good color palettes for each of these things. Okay. And I'm going to move it. No, don't do that. I'm going to hit Control Z. Okay, there we go. You know what I'd like to do? I wish that they would allow me to lock a container or a group of controls. So nobody accidentally messes with it. That would be nice. Um, so I'm gonna move this guy, make sure I got the four directional type of thing going on here. Okay. Perhaps what I should do is show, let's do a regular container. It almost makes sense to really not use rectangles anymore and just use containers, at least a vanilla container. And in this case, I'm going to go to the color and I'm going to look at the current theme. Okay. So I am going to incorporate Microsoft's uh, new modern theming system. Okay. I don't want to ignore it like I ignored the classic ones. Now, the classic ones deserve to be ignored, in my opinion. Yeah. So, yeah, plus one on locking groups of controls. Yeah, that would be a nice thing to have. I'm gonna hit F11 and make this full screen so you guys can see it better. Um, yeah, so I want to implement this and say app.theme dot colors dot primary. Okay, so I at least see that. Hmm. And we could list out we could actually show the different colors in here. That wouldn't be a bad idea. But okay, I'm gonna make this a little smaller maybe. I think what I might do is enlist the help of AI, because when I do something fresh and new, I like to be as strategic as possible. I like to do all the upfront work so that the hardest thing in IT, you know what it is? There's a whole book on this. How to name things. Go look on Amazon how to name things. And people in IT sometimes kid. That's actually the hardest thing to do in IT is just to name things. Um, because let's say, an app, am I going to call this the Power Apps app template, you know, um, or even, table names, you want them to be descriptive of what they are, but but you want to pick a name for things that you'll hopefully never have to change. Okay, Angela has a Microsoft phone, a Duo 2, and it's the best device of its type I've ever had. But they're ceasing support in October. It's a chief proponent left Microsoft for Amazon. Okay, so there was somebody that worked at Microsoft, probably some fancy title like architect, product product manager or something. Um, and yeah, they left for Amazon. So um, it's interesting to see how policies changes based on a person leaving or retiring. When I started coding back in the day with Visual Basic 6, oh, he was a VP. Okay, so vice president. So that makes sense. Okay. I've always, for those that use Windows phones, I've always heard really positive things. I just like I never hear about it. It's like, what? Microsoft makes phones? You know? Um, and I've heard that they're really great. Now, if you consider the Microsoft Zune, Z-U-N-E, some of you may have never heard of this, but that was like Microsoft's competitors, the Apple, what do they used to call it, an iPod, like a little MP3 player. And supposedly the Zune had a lot better features, but the Apple one was more popular, and that's what everybody knew because it was so popular. And maybe it was popular because it was like minimalistic and had a nice sleek design, you know. I do like a minimalistic, sleek design, but I think function is more important than aesthetics. Um, Maybe they're equally as important. I mean, this is a matter of opinion, guys, not a fact. But there is such thing as like an agreed upon things within an industry, you know, but or within a company, you know. Everything in Apple is sort of minimalistic and simple, sleek design. And you know, Microsoft does create designs like that, but what I've found is that there's a lot of good function in there as well, you know. Darren, can you make a variable that you can use to lock specific controls, like a container, by the way? I don't think so. I'm trying to think how that could be done. Um, okay, Kenneth, so you said that you've done this in one of your apps. How did you do it? I mean, obviously, you probably did it with a variable. But okay, so for example, I've got this container here, and I say I don't want the X and Y to be changed. So I could go in here and have a variable called like var or global my X, okay? As soon as you move this thing manually, it will take out that variable. So does your how you implemented it does it account for something like that? Because I do a lot of dynamic stuff, and then if somebody goes into my app and maybe he's working on it and they change something, they can mess up all kinds, and they don't even realize they're messing all kinds of cool dynamic things that I built into the app, you know. So I'd be interested in hearing more about that, Kenneth. Okay. Let's get back to it here. Um, so I'm going to try to shorten this up a little more. And what I would like is to have a gallery like this, but it's going to be for themes based on those colors. Kenneth says, I made it connect to the display mode property of the control. Huh, okay. So display mode. Let's say we've got a text input control. And this thing has a display mode, and that could be disabled. Okay. Now I can't go in here and change the value, but as far as an X and Y, the height and the width, now I could set up this X with a variable, even wrap a if statement around it based on the display mode of this. You can put whatever expression you want there, but as soon as they change the X with the designer, it's going to mess it up. Unless, Kenneth, you know something that I don't. And yeah, I'd love to hear more about it because that would be awesome. Yeah. Um, so I don't know so let me know if there's something more to that I'm not understanding there. So I want this gallery to be a color palettes, plural, for each of these. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. I'm going to tell AI, and in this case, I'm using a tool called Perplexity. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that, but it uses all the other AI models that are available, but I don't know, it just seems to do a better job sometimes. Um, okay, so I would like 10 color palettes based on, hmm, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to move this stuff around here and I'm going to pull this down. Okay. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do here. So let's say would I would like to create 10 color palettes based on a single color based on for each of the 140 web colors. Maybe what I should tell it, I'm going to cut this out here and say, list out the 140 web colors in a table format, sorted alphabetically, ascendingly, using the color name. For example, Alice blue as the first. Now, what's the last? And we should have a number 140, yellow green, and yellow green as the last one. So let's see if it can give us that. I'm sure it can. I've never had a problem doing this with AI. And what I like about Perplexity, it's going to give me it's good with the web search. So here's all of these colors. Now I wish I had an easy way of getting at the website that is displaying this. So let's see if they have a reference. 3 steps completed. Understanding the question, searching the web. Found 14 sources. So perhaps the first one is Wikipedia here. Ooh, look at this. We get at the hue, saturation, all this type of stuff. Oh, I sort of like that. Source Crayola. Absolute zero. Now, are all these web colors? I don't know about that. Okay. So list of colors. Hmm, this is interesting. Okay. Look at this. Reds, pinks, orange. Ah, that's sort of nice. Wow, look at all those gray colors. Let's see what else it has. Oh, here's web colors by Wikipedia. There we go. Huh. The hue. There's the RGB. There's the hex color. So I don't have the hue, saturation, the light or the HSL, saturation. Then we got value. Value of what? The CGA number. And even the printing industry has another system of defining colors. The cyan and the magenta and all that stuff. Oh, well, this is sort of cool. It gives us a nice PNG to use here. Oh, I'm going to snag that. And I'm like fairly certain that the content on Wikipedia is public domain, I would imagine. But that would be a cool thing to have. Let's see here. GRA colors. Okay. Now I'm going to go back to our application and we'll add a screen here. And let's add an image. And we'll upload the image. And there we go. So we could fit, we could fill, no, we could stretch. A fit might be the best. If we said tile, how big? It still cut some stuff off there. Can we read it? I mean, we really don't need this graphic, but because we have 140 with the hex and the name and everything, so that may not be all that useful in our app here. But okay, so I'm going to go back to Perplexity, and what I'm going to do, okay, showing me all this. Okay, I'm going to tell it add a column for ordinal position within the list of 140. So I'll have it do that. And I should probably before, and I also want it to get rid of all the other I just want the color name and the other stuff there. Take out the hex code and RGB code columns. Okay, it's going to take a moment to generate everything for me there. All right, I'm going to go back to my screen here. And what I want to do inside this gallery is have a color palette associated with each of these. Okay, so for example, what I want to have happen is if I click on one of these colors, you see Alice Blue has a nice light yellow color here. If I click on Alice Blue, I want to see at least 10 color palettes to choose from if that was like my main color. So that's what I'm trying to do and generate here. Okay. So we'll take out those two columns it gave us. And then I'll have you generate a set of 10 color palettes for each of these 140 web colors. We'll start with the first one, Alice Blue. And go and these 10 color palettes. Um, a color palette should have. Amber says, "Whoa, that's a cheat code! Amazing." Are we talking about perplexity? Are we talking about the content of generating colors? So I'm interested, Amber, what you're referring to as a cheat code. But I do agree probably on any of those answers. This excites me to like, you know, create some great resources, some great collections to build into each of our apps through building a good, nice, solid template like this. It says generating colors for each standard color. Yeah, isn't that cool? I think it's cool. All right, color palette should have at least 5 other colors that would go great with the color in question. One at a time. Okay. In the two galleries you have step in step in Power Apps. Yeah. Okay. So one of colors should be an accent color that provides good amount of contrast. These so guys with with creating applications, there's this phrase called garbage in, garbage out. So uh in computing, back when I was in grade school, they would talk about computers. Well, computers take input, they process, and then they output. It's as simple as that. So your input is a microphone, a keyboard, a mouse, um, data that's read in or imported. And then the processing is changing it around in some fashion, modifying it. And the output could be a monitor, the printer, and what they would say is garbage in. So if you give it garbage input, don't expect great output unless you're using AI. No, AI. The more descriptive the prompt, the better the result will be. So you see, I'm taking a lot of time to write this out. Okay, these color palettes will be used, these great looking color palettes that you will generate will be used in mobile app UI designs. Okay, I'm ready to see what it gives us for the first one. Okay, please start with the first one. Alice blue. Now, how many colors do you want in each color palette? Wow, I just told it. Okay, I'm going to say 6. Now, I said you want at least want 5. Well, I'm going to say 6 because maybe one of those 6 I may not like all that much. I mean, we could say 8. um, yeah. Yeah, we could give it more colors there. I think I'm just going to go with 6. Um, okay, let's say 6 and see what it comes up with. Oh, I love this, guys. Look, it's giving us a name for the palette. I love it. Okay. Um, okay. Provide all this information, data in JSON format. Now, JSON format is going to give us something similar to what we need inside of Power Apps. For each of these colors in each palette, give me a good corresponding color for the font be used on top of that color. Really good contrast for accessibility. Now, is there anything else that we wanted to generate for us? Trying to think here. And I like the fact, I think all of these are web colors. Every color generated should be one of the 140 web colors. Let's see what it gives us now. Provide the color contrast method or guidelines you want to follow for determining the font color. WCAG. Okay. What? Well, okay. How what is a good color contrast method? What is a common and well accepted color contrast method when considering color palettes to be used in UI UX design for apps. Let's see what it comes up with here. Okay. Now here we're using Gemini, right? So the 60-30-10, the idea is that one color, generally something fairly neutral, either literally or psychologically, makes up 60% of the palette. Okay. Another complementary color makes up 30, and a third, okay. But I'm talking about the contrast specifically. What? Oh, center contrast. So I'm going to rephrase it, not as a method, but as a contrast standard. Okay. A ratio of at least and 3-1 for large text. Okay. So 4.5 to 1. The standard is apart. So I'm going to take that. And I think that's what they suggested here. A ratio of 4.5 to 1. Here's that. So they're giving examples here. Look at this. This is not, so this has a contrast ratio of 1.7 to 1. Isn't that interesting? Oh, yeah. I see Alexandre says ask for a 4.5. Very cool. Web contrast accessibility guidelines. Yeah, very nice. Yeah, this is really cool. Wow, look at that. Alice Blue. Wow, this is really interesting stuff. Okay, I'm going to copy this JSON. I'm going to scroll up to the top and just click on the clipboard here. And I'm going to go over here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say table. Paste that in there. Okay. Take that. Take that out. So I'm removing a curly brace and a square bracket. Square brace and a curly bracket. Okay, taking that out. And I'm going to fix the indentions here. And what we'll say is palette name. Okay. Interesting. Okay, there's black. I'm going to ask it about naming the colors, and hopefully it will give me something nice. Okay. Where did it go? 3, 4, 5. I'd almost like to, I mean, while we're generating this, might as well have two more alternate colors. Okay. When defining color palettes, what is a good system for naming the different colors? For example, I've used names like these. Primary dark, secondary dark, body background, then primary light, and then secondary light. But I don't like those names anymore. What is a good, common, recommended, best practice for naming such individual colors? All right. Let's see what it comes back with. And May says, hello. Hello to you. Thanks for joining. Okay. Oh, wow. This is a great. Okay, so we got primary, secondary, success, warning, error, background. Now, I don't. Hmm. Error and warning. Error should always be pure red. Warning could be like a gray. So white, black, and shades of gray, in my opinion, they would go with any color palette. We've got background, text, accent. Oh, they're giving us several ways. Okay, I like this. Use the numerical suffixes to indicate the different shades or tints of a color. Wow. Avoid color names. Avoid color names like blue, red. Yeah, of course. Consistency. Here are some examples of well-named color palettes. Primary 100. Text, accent. Well, that's not bad. Okay, so here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have an accent color. Okay, this is interesting. Instead of saying primary dark, secondary dark, we could go with something like this. What do you guys think of this? Secondary shades and tints. Now, I sort of want to go over to Power Apps and see what it generated for us and see if we like it or not. So I think for now, take that out. And I'll call it color 1. Boom. Color 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. And of course, and I do plan on renaming this. I just want to, okay, I need a comma there. Okay. Oh. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to AI and say, listen, oh, my video froze up there. Let me turn that off, turn it back on. Hopefully that will fix it. Sometimes it does not fix it. So I've got this guy and I'll switch back. Nope. Don't want that. Okay. There we go. All right. So yeah, I don't need a comment there. Um, so what I'm gonna say is I'm gonna give it this format for now. And I'm gonna go back to perplexity. Regenerate the JSON code you provided earlier, but use this format instead for each palette. So you tell it exactly what you want to have in your code. Hmm. Right. Each record, comma. After the all right, let's see if we can handle this. Oh, beautiful. Love it. And it should give me 10. So by the way, guys, um, while it's generating this, I want to let you know that so I'm going to be doing I'm going to be putting lots of work in this template. And chances are you're not going to want to do all this. I mean, I'm probably going to have either workshops or something like live streams and stuff where I show you guys everything that I'm doing, what I'm putting into it. But if you ever consider that you might want to get at my template, right now it is $15 a month, but the price is only going to go up. I would get in now if I were you. Um, I would say after today, it's either going to go up to 19 or 20 a month. So as I add more and more features to it, the price will go up. Some people I think might have even gotten it free or at the $1 a month. That was a great deal for those that got in at that time. Okay, so this is amazing. This is great. Good stuff. Okay. Take all that out. Paste that there. Go to the top. That looks fine. Yeah, this is looking good. Okay. This item dot value. No, let's look at C1. Ooh, ooh. What do we do wrong there? Oh, we need to do a color value around it. That's what we need to do. Of course. Okay. So I'm going to take some of these things out of here. And let's make this. You know what? I'm going to take these other things out. All right, guys. I'd love to hear from you guys back. After we got all these color palettes done, looks like my camera froze up again. Gee whiz. Oh, wait. Let me turn my camera off and then back on. After we get this feature done, guys, um, what would you like to see done next? I'd be curious to hear your input on that. Here we go. Allow me to show you, when we talk about this community that is $15 a month today, but it will be going up. We have this thread out here called the full feature listing. What did we do yesterday in the workshop? Well, we started from scratch. We went through every single setting inside of Power Apps and we optimized all the settings. Okay. We created a solution. We added a component library for the menu. Um, and so you probably saw a menu there in my app. Well, we did that yesterday. We brought that in. Um, and I shared everything that the those that are in that community get access to all this stuff that we did. We created a simple component, which was a header control that, in my opinion, is a lot better than the one that Microsoft provides with the modern controls. We're making the app completely responsive, and we started working with that color collection that I've showed you in the app formulas. So that's where we left off after 4 hours of a workshop. And look, dynamic theming. That's sort of what we're doing today. You know, we're gonna be working in harmony with the modern theming, but we're gonna extend and add on to it, obviously. And then after that, we'll be looking at a light mode, dark mode version of each of these. Okay. Next, we'll be working on a collection for icons. Wouldn't that be cool? So we got maybe 140 icons to choose from within. I don't know if that's the exact number, but it seems about right, you know. Um, Maybe instead of having 100 different icons, we have more like 2,000 or more, or we have an SVG generator screen. Wouldn't that be cool? I mean, the sky's the limit here. We're limited just by our imagination. Canvas apps is just great. I feel like I can almost do anything with Canvas apps. Maybe not a word cloud, but everything else I've been able to do. Flexible height gallery to duplicate. Yeah. So what we'll probably end up doing is having a screen with all the different controls and spend a lot of time customizing them to really save us time as we're building apps with something like this. Okay. I'm going to run this and I'm going to go to the top. Okay. I'm going to copy and paste that. And then I'm going to move this guy over. Hmm. All right, I'll copy and paste that. Huh. Okay. Okay, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so this first one, C1, will go in here, make this a 2, make this 3, 4, that 5, 6. Did it give us black every time? It did for the font color. Okay, well, black probably makes a great font color, but is it going to be used every single time like that? These look like pastel colors. I really don't like that. Okay, so I feel like we need to give AI some example stuff. So let's go over to create and let's see here. Hopefully, you guys can't hear my toddler in the house screaming. Um, Toddlers sometimes throw fits. Analogous. I'm gonna cram. You know what I really like? I like this site for this type of stuff. Okay, so we'll look at four colors. Alice blue. I guess I like dark colors and not like pastel looking colors. So I've got an idea. I'm gonna go back over to perplexity. Okay. Now just generate only three. Well, three color palettes instead. I'm gonna say five instead of 10. And the color one is always the color we're working with, like powder blue. Um, I'm sorry, Alice Gray. Alice, was it Alice Gray? What? I don't remember what it was. It was Alice something, Alice Blue. Five palettes instead of 10. And we're having to give it a 6. CO1 should now be the same base color from the third list of 140 web colors. CO2 should be and CO3 should be dark colors. And then we got 4 and 5 should be light colors. CO6 should be a good color to use as a screen background. And let's say CO7 should be a good contrast. And what did we say before? It was like, oh, I didn't turn my video back on. There we go. Amber, thanks for letting me know. Yeah, you can't hear him. I think the microphone does a really good job at keeping noises out. Color for fonts. Okay. And what we said above was the 4.5 to 1 for each one. Okay, so it's going to be generating 6 besides the first one, which is given. Is there anything else that we should put in here? Now, if we go back to my Jumpstart kit, uh, what did... And by the way, if you guys are interested in my current Jumpstart kit, um, I'm going to be slowly lowering the price for that. So for a long time, I've been selling it for $250. It's a one-time payment, but I think I've lowered that down to like 199 or 200 since yesterday, if I remember right. And then that will go down over time as the new template that we're building sort of surpasses it in value, you know. And I'm sure eventually that the Jumpstart kit will be very low, like I don't know, $20 if we've got a fully something that we can fully replace the Jumpstart kit with here in the other project. Now let's go look at this button. So we got all these things. We got a menu, background, and foreground color. Gallery selected. Okay. Control hover. I think we might use the other colors that are that it generates. Okay. This is great. Isn't this fun, guys? Okay. I am okay. It's got the 5 whimsical dreams. That's cool. I'm gonna copy that. Go back over here. Click in here. Go down to the bottom. Okay. Okay. Look at this font color, though. Okay, so one of these was a body background color. Huh. Name. Let's look at the name that it has here. I'll take the font down a little bit there. Now, I don't really care for any of these color palettes. So, I'm not sure about that. Okay, so you see these first 2 columns. These are all dark colors. Hmm. Yeah, I don't know about that. I wonder if I'd be able to copy all of the palettes here. Quick view. I want to see it in like some code. Open in the generator. Okay. View. Ooh. Huh. Well, that's interesting. This might be useful with a CSS. Oh, here's code. Oh, I love it. This is interesting. Okay. Prussian blue. Yeah, CSV. That's what I'd like. I'm gonna just hit Control C there. Okay. I'm gonna go over and make sure this all looks right. Cut, cut, cut. That would be 4. This one would be 5. Now look at this first palette. Doesn't that look so much nicer than all these others? And then we've got this, that's the font color there. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. I'm going to go back over to, hmm. Okay. I'm going to redefine this a little bit. Ben says, hey, Darren. Hey, Ben. How you doing? Okay. Let's try this again. I've been told you shouldn't say please to AI because it sounds more like a request. So it could refuse to do anything for you. C7 is black on this. Okay. Oh, is that the font? No, this isn't right. Okay, there's C7. 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so I need another one in here. Um, okay. So I'm gonna move this stuff around. Make this stuff smaller. Let's make this like 120. Hmm. Let's move this around a little bit here. And what I might do, for the template fill, is say this item dot value. There we go. Sort of like that. And then for these two labels, let's make these a little less. We'll align the tops and we'll make its fill to be white. So we'll say 65, 70. Okay, so we did that. Okay. And this is the complementary. And this is yeah, this thing is the accent color. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing for that. Fill. This item dot C1. Color value. Okay. Yeah, I like this first color palette, but none of the others. Maybe if we give it some examples, it will sort of like, I don't know, get a better idea of what we like. Okay. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got 7. So this one is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's make this one. I'm just going to do this 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And let's look at the 7. Okay. Okay. So this color's for font. This is for a body background. Yeah, all these other things don't look that great. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to try to go back. All right. I'll try to go back, and it's not allowing me to go back. So I'm going to say, I'm going to click on this colors, go home. What do we have here? Okay, that's sort of what I wanted anyway. I think this one looks nice. So let's go and export the palette, and we'll say code, and we'll go get the CSV here. Okay. So this is 2. This is 3. This is 4. This is 5. Let's see how the second one looks. Calming skies. Okay. Go over here, get out of that. Now this one doesn't look bad. We'll export this one. I mean, guys, we could have 100 palettes for each 140 web colors if we wanted to. Talk about a lot of work. I just wish AI could help us out more. All right, so this is number 2. This is number 3. This is 4. This is 5. Okay. And what I am going to do, I'd like to add a little button here. Yeah, let's add a little button there. Say apply. Apply the theme. Let's make this more like 400. Nope, that's not what I meant to do. I meant to change the width. 80, maybe 65. There we go. Okay. And then what we could have is something like this over here in this button. All right. There's the theme, and I really don't want to mess with the menu right now. And I don't want to mess with yeah, this stuff. But let's do this. Let's say this item C1. Maybe I won't mess with the fonts. This is what I do like about my palette is I call things either light or dark. And that's going to help us do it a light theme, dark theme later on. But right now I just want to see them. So I'm going to say that, that, the background. Okay, so this is going to be 2, 3, 4, 5. Look at that. Yeah, that's Alice Blue. Hmm. So what I would do in this case, this color, I mean the Alice Blue is the oh my goodness, is the lightest color. This would be the second lightest color. Here's a primary dark, second, maybe this would be the secondary dark, and this would be the accent color, perhaps. Okay. All right. I'm gonna go back over to Perplexity. And what we said was, oh, okay. What I'm going to do is for the, let's add a column called if something is light or dark. Yeah, Kurt, yeah, obviously Kurt is not here. And uh, he should be back soon, but we don't know exactly when he'll be able to come back. But Yeah, so I'm hoping as soon as possible because I honestly believe if you guys are just sitting here listening to me talk, it's a little yeah, Amber's here. I almost need somebody on as a panelist, and I'm going to assume that Matt typically attends these. He's on my staff as well. I was hoping that he'd be able to make it, but yeah, me just being here by myself, it's I'm sure it's probably a little boring, right? A little dry. Um, okay, let's add a column called light or dark. um, I guess we could have like a medium type of color called how dark? Yeah, darkness. Ah, you think darkness is your ally? Quote from Batman, from Bane. You merely adapted to the darkness. I was born into it, molded by it. You know, something that I'd like to do. Okay. Oh, I want to call it How Dark, but it doesn't sound as cool as Darkness. Darkness. I would like you to assign. Huh, this would be interesting, guys. Um, darkness percentage to assign. Hmm. Assign a number that would represent how dark each of these colors. For example, CO1. Huh. Okay. CO1. There's got to be a better word for this. Um, how dark? Percentage dark. I tell you, the hardest thing in IT is naming things. And so on for each of the in the palette. The number generated should be between 1 and 100. Actually, I'll say 0. Pure black would be 0, and pure white would be 10. Six through 10 would be considered dark. 5 would be considered, I want to say 0 to 4 would be white. Degrees. Neutral, I would say equally dark and light. Somewhere in the middle. Does this all make sense? Let's see what it does here. And you know what we could do is we could take a play from Microsoft's book. Okay, so let's look at their theming. What do they call all their colors? So we do have a primary, but we have darker 10. What about darker 50? Ooh, that's even darker. Okay, so the higher number on that would be darker. So if I said 70, that should probably almost be black. It does look black. Okay. 60? Okay. This is interesting. Okay. So let's look at the lighter. So if I said lighter 10, okay. 50, ooh, okay. Lighter 80. Okay, that's really light. So the higher the number, the more in that direction, either light or dark, it will get. Yeah. Hmm. Interesting. Okay. No, this is cool. Okay, how many color palettes do you want to generate? Ew. Do you want to generate the three? Is it Alice Blue? Is that what it's called? Let me see here. Yeah, it's called Alice Blue. There should be a edge, dark. Each color okay, this is good. Wow, I like it. All right, so I'm going to copy that. Let's go back over here. And we've generated two color palettes that we really like and really don't care for the others. Hmm. Well, now what I'd like to do, like to insert label. So we could actually see the percentage there. C1 percentage dark. Oh. Hmm. Wow. Interesting. Okay, let's make this 120. Yikes. And what I'm going to do is take these and we'll move these around a little bit. Let's see here. Give this a background of white and the color will be black. Okay. Hmm. This is interesting. So why don't we have it? Oh, because it was probably, yeah, that wasn't generated by Perplexity, but these down here are. Okay. So that'll be 2. Three. Actually, these are a little off. Get rid of that. You see, that starts with. I think I messed all this up here. The width will be 40 for each of these. Okay. Okay. And let's change this to be color dot black. There we go. And on the Y, let's make that 50. Okay. And then on this one, set that up to be white, to be black, and then we'll say C01 percentage dark. All right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really liked how it assigned these colors here. Do I have any fives? I'm wondering what a five would look like exactly. 1, 2, 1. Okay, so these are really light ones. Interesting. Hmm. Okay, let me ask you guys a question. Um, is there anything that you'd like me to do in this session that would be helpful to you guys? Because I could do this all weekend, to be honest. Um, so I like it to be related to theming, color palettes, modern themes. So just FYI, let me make sure my camera is set up. There we go. So I'm going to keep an eye on the comments, guys. So let me know. Sometimes I feel like when I get in the weeds, sometimes coding really isn't all that interesting. It's a little dry and boring. So, um, I mean, I can continue this. I've got a good foundation of like how I'm going to proceed with this. I just wish that AI would give me better colors, you know. Um, so it gave me three of them. Okay, regenerate eight. This code, but all these generate the code with the following changes. Yeah, they should make a color AI. Yeah. Okay. For the name, what we will do, take out palette in and okay. For each of these colors, we'll put those in a parent field called colors. For this colors field, it will contain 7 items. Each of those should have a color name a percentage dark. Oh, I can leave out that underscore and the hex code color. Okay, let's see if it can handle that. Sometimes I'm amazed on both sides. Like, really? AI can't do that? And then some things it does, I'm like, wow, never thought it could do something like that. Okay. Okay, so what I'm going to say, percentage dark, it has, let's not use CO1, CO2, etc. for the color names. Please provide a good color name like Alice Blue. It is a pound sign F0 F8 FF. Okay. And then let's see if it can handle that. We'll do one thing at a time. A color name for the first color in the palette. First color in the palette. For this first set, it will be Alice Blue. The first color name out of the 140 web colors. I like the fact that Perplexity comes back with questions, you know. Ooh, look at that. Eye color palette. No, I don't like the palette it generated there. But do you see what it did there? Eye color palette. Let's play with colors. Oh. So if I go in here and I say Alice Blue, what is it going to give me? Ooh. Guys, look at this. This is amazing. I love this. So if we have all these different shades of Alice Blue, I feel like we got a long way to go with this to make it like just amazing. And I want it to be amazing, of course, right? I want to buy a personal Office 365 license to make my own apps, but which license is the cheapest to get access to Power Apps? That would be the Power Apps developer. Okay. And there's an ISV, which is, what does ISV stand for? Does anybody know? Independent Software vendor? I don't know. App advisor. Okay. And then here's the developer plan. I would go with the developer plan. Typically, developer plans will give you all the access to everything that you need to do, but it's just meant for development. And typically, those things are free. Microsoft wants you to be out here learning Power Apps. Uh, so yeah. And then you got trials and stuff, but yeah, I'd go with a developer plan. Now, let me show you something really cool here. Let's go do a search for by the way, the M365 is the independent software vendor. Very good. Fonzie says no way. What do you mean on the developer? Instead of saying Office, let's say M365 pricing. That's what I search for. And I'm going to recommend something, and don't buy it through a different vendor than Microsoft. That's just that's that's some you see it says formerly Office 365. Yeah, my advice is not to go through a vendor, but deal directly with Microsoft. Why would you want a middleman in there? Now the middleman, sometimes they could help you out and set things up. Uh, but you guys are here learning from me on YouTube, you know. Uh, Let me create a video that will show you. Actually, I have a whole series of videos in the accelerator that show you how to set up a domain, how to set up your DNS for your domain, and then you set up your tenant, and I go through all that stuff. So yeah, don't go through a middleman. Okay, so what you'll notice here, it says for home or for business. Go with for business. Don't use the home stuff. You get more stuff for your money with for business. Okay, $6 a month. You get your own Microsoft tenant. You get all kinds of stuff, guys. That is what I'd recommend. You get your own SharePoint. I mean, you could create as many SharePoint sites as you want. I believe you got like a terabyte of OneDrive space. Again, $6 a month. Now, if you go month to month, I think it might be like 7 or 750 or something. I know it's under $8. So if I go up here and I say pay monthly, here we go. Pay monthly. Oh, okay, there. It just took a little while. Okay, $7.20. I like that. Okay, so Amber says I can't see PA. Okay, yeah, don't worry about PA right now, Power Apps, because trying to think here. Um, Once you create a tenant, you could just create your developer account inside your tenant. So, um, I would go with this basic plan. Now, if you want to download Word and Excel and Outlook and PowerPoint, then go for this guy. Okay. But you can use them all like on the web based, like this. Okay. Um, yeah, 1 terabyte of cloud storage. There's all kinds of stuff in here. You have your own Teams, you got your own email server, and you get Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and Outlook. And then if you spring for the one that's a little more expensive, you can download these and you get a few more, like Loop, which is, I believe it's a competitor to Notion, and I use Notion quite a bit. Really like it. Um, and I've heard some other MVPs say like, hey, what you really need, I mean, it depends on how serious you're going to be, like how important this stuff is to you. I buy an E5 license, which is like $55 a month, but it includes like Power BI Pro. Not that I'm doing tons of Power BI, but um, there's all kinds of other benefits that come along with it, you know? So, um, and those are considered enterprise. So if I go over to, you got pricing for business and small business. Oh, look, pricing for enterprise. So check this out. Here's an E5. Yeah, $54.75. So that's what I do. And you can dig into all these, but look at all the stuff that you get. You get the planner. Oh, here's Power Apps and Power Automate. Now, okay, if you don't care about Teams, that may not be a bad deal. But look at all this stuff you get. Um, so how I started, guys, was I went out here and I went with they say formerly called O365. Well, you click on Office, what happens? Okay, they just have different packages for Office. Like maybe you're just looking for Office and none of the Power platform stuff, maybe. But I mean, there it's over here. So I mean, they got all kinds of stuff. Government, nonprofit, frontline. If you're a first responder, I think is what that is for. Wow, really cheap. Look at that for Microsoft. So you can get an F3 license for $8 a month. Now you might have to qualify to get this though. Um, Power Virtual Agents. There's Power Apps. Okay, so and Windows. So if you you need to install Windows on a machine that you built, you could get it there. But I'm sure there's some, and that's an annual commitment. But I started off. If I can go back to what I did was I said for small business. Okay, compare plans and pricing. Here we go. Microsoft Business. That's how I started off. And then what I did was I just got myself either a Power Apps trial or a developer license. And for the longest time, that's what I was using. And as I grew and hired staff and stuff, I um you get a lot of things if you upgrade like your main account to be like an E5, and you get a bunch of stuff that the organization can use, like Microsoft Intra, you know, all these other things. You got Defender and stuff. So some of these things would apply to the organization, and some of them would need each user to have it enabled. But okay. So hopefully that answered that question. I didn't mean to get off topic too much here. But I really like this. This is some great stuff. Now, I want this to be generated automatically. That would be nice. Can I copy all of these? The thing is, we could probably create these with the Power Apps function color fade. And color fade, give it a negative number, and you can make it darken. So if Alice Blue, let's do a search here. Pound sign FOF8FF. Do we see that anywhere in here? No. But how many rows do we have? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we got 10. So 3, 4, 5. And I'm looking for EF. I think Alice Blue is actually lighter than this. Yeah, see how light it is right there? So we got this HSL, RGBA, Lab XYZ color, HSVA color, color scheme images. So guys, we can really make this really feature rich with all kinds of really cool stuff. And you can make things dynamic. Um really dynamic. So anyway, it'd be nice to have like for each color to have an opposite color. So, Alice Blue is really light. So if we say, somebody has their browser set up for dark mode, Perhaps we want the opposite from that, so give me somewhere on the Alice Blue scale, but give me like its opposite. Maybe I could have it tell me like an opposite, you know. Let's add another field in the colors parent field. Call it opposite color. Now I want to see if it can just tell me what the opposite color is. I don't want to have to spell it all out. Let's see if it can understand that. Let's add another field in the colors parent. What is the purpose? To be used to dynamically change between light and dark mode, or to be used as a contrast between background, foreground. Color or fill. Let's see what it comes up with here. Ooh, look at this thing. We've got, you see how these colors work together with contrast. That's sort of cool. Oh, look at that. So I'm going to move myself down so you guys can see this better. Oh, come on. Where did it go? It's down here. I'm going to open this in a new tab. No, I meant to click on this. Open this in a new tab. So you got primary, you got square, complementary, triad, analogous, and tetradic. Primary, triad. This is pretty cool. Cool, warm, bright, dark, saturated, desaturated. Yeah, it'd be sort of fun to like dig into color theory. Okay, so now we have an opposite color. Calming skies, dark red, dark blue. Okay, so I'm going to use that. I'm going to minimize it. Okay. Okay. So what do we have here? Now, whenever we see a square bracket, we want table. Replace those three. And then we have a closing bracket. We'll use a parenthesis like that. Okay, no errors in our code now. But this all looks messed up, of course. You're going to change the format. Okay, so we'll say this item colors index, and we'll say 2. dot hex code. Okay. Okay. Now the underlying table, I think we do have an error down here. You see that little red dot on the scroll bar? So we got table. There's a comma. There's a comma. There's a comma. I don't think that we need. There we go. There we go, guys. And for the template fill, what we could do is say colors. Let's do an index. And this one would be one. Our index one based or zero based? I believe in Power Apps they're one, but in other languages like C, C++, maybe JavaScript, they're zero based. And then we've got a hex code. Okay, so that came in fine. So now what I'm going to do, let's say for this text here. Oop, no, I don't want to do that. I want to go to the foreground color. Xcode, I'm going to say opposite color. Okay. Well, that's interesting. All right, let's click on this guy. Now, what is this one? Okay, that's 2. This is going to be 3. 4. 5. 6. And 7. Okay. And we got the percentage dark. Do we need to wrap text around that? Yeah. Nope, that did not fix it. We expect text or a number at this point in the formula. Oh. Oh, we don't want color value in there. We just want this number. And really, for each of these labels, we want them to be aligned on the right side. Okay, so that is 1. Now this is 2. Okay, so this should be 2. 3. 4. 2, 3, 4. This is going to be 5. 6. 7. And by the way, for those of you in this template group, we're going to start meeting every Monday. And it might be at 5 p.m. EST. Okay. The next best time would be 4 p.m. EST. So we'll be meeting hopefully each week at the same time on Mondays. And we're going to be developing this this template. So if you guys are excited about what we're doing here, You might want to join that community. Okay, so we've got, what are we doing here? What we wanted there was the percentage dark, but of the first color. Huh, okay. So the color value, when we click on these buttons, okay, click on this, and then we'll do that. Instead of hex code, we'll say opposite color. All right. Three opposite. 4 is the color. Boom. 5 opposite. 6. Okay. So if I click on that, this looks nice. So this does it more justice than looking at this. That, boy, would that be an ugly app or what? I feel like what we need here, we need another. Let's move this around a little bit here. My toddler's trying to get in the room. He's probably coming in and telling me my 3 hours is up. What does the index function do? Um, an index, so if you give it an array or a collection, if you want to get the first item, you would give it 1 as for the first item, okay? And then if you wanted the last one, you could do a count rows on the collection to find out what the last one is. But um, in this case, we have a set number of colors, so like what, 1 through 7. So that's how you get at the ordinal position. Yeah. Okay. So what I'm going to do, this thing here has got a dynamic height, and I'm going to go find it. A secondary light, which are these two. I'm going to do a copy and paste. And I want to got the _1. Okay, so I'm going to say _1 and then _1 and then And let's go to the Y, and we'll say whatever the Y is for that, plus its height. There we go. And we got a little button underneath there that we need to rescue. All right, so for this guy, its color. We need another thing here. What do we call it? Main color. Is that? And color for the font, we'll say is opposite color. Main color. Okay. So the text for this will be main color. And then this rectangle will have main color. Okay. Main color. But the font, main color font. There we go. Okay. But this button I don't think is working right because this needs to be 1. So let me do this. I don't think we really need a button there. We could just say on the on select, we could set this up. What do you guys think? I think that would make for a really ugly interface. This one's not too bad. That one's not that great either. All right. All right, I'm going to take that button out. We don't need that button in there anymore. And soft pastel. Yeah, that's right on. It's pretty light. Okay. All right. I think that what bothers me the most is using AI to come up with some good colors. Okay. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to look at perplexity here. And let's go in here. How do I determine the opposite color? What are some of the tools going on a hex code? How do I get you to generate great looking color palettes? The ones you've generated so far would look awful for an app user interface. Let's see if it gets offended. Me telling it that its work is ugly. Material design, flat design, gradient based. Colors that look great together in a UI. Sure, it is subjective, but can't you find color palettes that humans tend to really like. It's giving me this URL as an answer. Hopefully, this website is not anything bad. Yeah, this is bad. Okay, let's do a Google here. Interesting. Start using the nude guidelines. Icons. Okay. Developer tutorials. Expo guidelines. Material. Okay, let's click on design here. Material theming. I like these icons. Those look great. Maybe what it's telling me is that it generate custom color palettes. Yeah. Material color palette. Input. Oh, okay. Huh. See how it has these numbers here? That's sort of cool. So the reason why for the darker, uh, Tassie says, I love Darren's lives, really. I don't know what that means. I think it's positive. um, okay, so yeah, these are just gradients of the same color. Color theme creation. What does that have to say about that? Primary and secondary colors. Variants of primary and secondary colors. Additional UI colors such as blah, 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 surface, airs, typography, and iconography. Background, surface, air, primary, secondary, on background, on surface, on air. What's this on surface stuff? Maybe I need to learn some additional color theory here. OFC, I don't know what OFC stands for. Can you save this live, please? Oh yeah, you can. It looks like you're on YouTube, so yeah, this video won't be taken down. You can access it with the same URL. So if you add this as like a bookmark, you can come back to it. Okay, I would strongly recommend if you want to keep in contact with what I'm doing. I post a lot of updates in the school community. So if you join the school community, which is free, um, you'll see a lot of updates there, like when I'm going live and things. When we're doing the workshops, what the workshops are on. So if you scroll all the way up to the top of the live chat here, you'll see links that I pasted in there for that. Okay. Baseline material color theme. Primary variant. Secondary variant. I like that. Okay. Now, what's this video? Such as a top app bar from a system bar. You can use light or dark variants of your primary colors. You can also use them to distinguish elements. Okay. Applying color to UI. Okay, maybe I need to like study this. That looks like a Power Apps application, doesn't it? This has got some good information here. So, yeah, like what Perplexity did here. Give me that. I love that it gives you the sources for this. 280 hand-put colors. Interesting. Browse top designs. Wow, look at how many different colors. No, 5. So it has 10 colors, and then there's lighter ones and darker ones of interesting British palette, Aussie palette. I wonder what is the US palette like red, white, and blue? There's usually only 3 colors in a country's flag, right? Yeah. Let's go here. What is the, looks like more of the same thing. Hmm. There's American palette. That's weird. Most expected red, white, and blue. Oh, daily curated design inspiration. You know what I like about software development, guys, is that you can use your creativity. Um, Landing page, checkout, landing page, app icon. Oh, wow. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say color, user profile. Okay. Color picker. Okay. Huh. Interesting. Settings. What does settings have? It shows like UI. For settings. Okay. Loading screens. That's very interesting, guys. Let's see what else we have here. We're giving you a free ebook, The Basics of User Experience Design. Okay, that sounds interesting. Yeah, we might have to feed some of this color theory to AI, perhaps. Remember I said that there is another system for defining colors. It's CMYK. The M is for magenta, cyan. I don't know how that's pronounced. Yellow, and K is, I don't know. There's an RGB system. Color theory is a framework that underpins how we understand and use color. Color wheel. Okay. Maybe we should give it like really specific directions. So, for example, on the color wheel, maybe what we could do is say, hey, give me 6 color palettes for every one of these web colors. And we'll say, hey, make it based on primary, square, complementary, triad, analog. You know, that sounds like a good idea. Cool, warm, bright, dark. I don't think any of these colors would look good for a UI, but hmm, okay. Yeah, this is really interesting. All right, guys. Well, what I think is probably the most important question to answer at this point is which one of my videos should you watch next? So you're going to like this video next. Let's see if they're right. Or you can select this playlist, which I've selected for you based on the content you're currently watching. Guys, gotta hurry. Click one of them. Otherwise, YouTube's going to autoplay some other video, which you probably don't want. Thanks.
People pay big money for this. Yeah.
You can recover Kurt from his